I'm Roger Wood, speaking with Ben Wheeler, President of Piscataqua Savings Bank in Portsmouth, along with Vice President Tony Cabral, who is also the technology expert. I was thinking back into the 1990s when we had all these banks in town with fancy names, and then we had them all go out of business. And it's part of that, I guess, was the fact that they did low doc or no doc loans, and that seemed to spell the end of them. But from 1877 until now and beyond, probably, you're in business with no branches, but conservative loans and activities. So, welcome, and maybe you can set the stage for that. What kind of bank is this?
Well, first, thank you for having us on here today. Piscataqua Savings Bank is, I would argue, is the most unique bank in the state of New Hampshire, and I think you could expand those borders even further in that we are exactly what you just talked about. We are a one branch location with zero intent of branching out. We don't do any commercial lending. All of the lending that we do is on the residential side, and we have a we have a very significant trust and investment department, which also helps us navigate this world of banking. There's no other bank, certainly in New Hampshire, as I said, and further out than that, that has that type of characteristic. And what that has allowed us to do is to stay pretty conservative in terms of who and what we lend to. We know our customers incredibly well. We have a very conservative loan portfolio that candidly doesn't yield as high of a rate of return as some of the other banks, but we're not in it for the rate of return. We are in it for the long haul. We know what we're good at. That's residential lending. We're going to stick to what we know how to do and do that as long as I'm here, and certainly further than beyond, hopefully.
Well, you're the latest president in a long line of successful officers for the Piscataqua Savings Bank. I found that you are a very not only friendly but a welcoming bank for customers, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be when we don't intend to branch out. When people come in, we have to far exceed all of the other banks in terms of customer service, and that's what really stands us apart. I would venture to say that our staff on the front line knows the customers better than any other bank because a lot of them have been here for so long. I mean, Susan's what?
30 years.
30 years, Jen's
25.
25.
Well,
I mean, those two employees basically know every single customer that walks into the bank. Now, we have had some recent retirement on our teller line because folks just were at the age where they could retire. So we've got some new faces down there, but they're really assimilating to the culture and embracing what Piscataqua is and treating our customers far better than any other bank in the industry.
treating each other better too, I'm sure. And I was impressed when I'm in there, and of course, you have expanded in size, although retaining the original building. But I was impressed that we can talk about that for a minute. I was impressed that you, as an executive, can be seen. You're not closeted in some fancy office. I mean, you can be seen. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's a blessing and a curse, Roger. It's part of the job. It's part of the culture. Every president before me has had an office similar to that. So I have no intentions of changing that. There are times, and my staff knows this, where I will hide somewhere in the bank because I just need a few hours to get some work done.
Sure.
But the best part of my day is when a customer comes in and sits down at my desk and we just chat about what's going on or what they like about the bank, sometimes what they don't like about the bank. That's important for me to hear too. But that's the fun part of the job is being interactive with the customers like that.
I want to get into what you've done lately, which is very impressive. maybe the only bank in the state to do this. Well, I don't know, but this is the inclusion in your lot, your parking lot, of an electrical charging station. Maybe Tony can elaborate on what it is. I know you can charge vehicles with it, but maybe you can fill in some blanks with the connection with Revision Energy.
Yeah, absolutely. This has been a journey. We started this project probably about 3 years ago. Um, we started looking at, we partnered with Revision Energy, and they helped us out with a path. And so we started looking at different opportunities that the state would provide. And then once we started looking into the different grants and uh, financial help, we started seeing that there was a lot of strings attached to each one of them. So what we did was we took a step back and we ended up doing a design by ourselves. So this charger is designed very differently than any new installation. Usually you would have Eversource come, they would put a big, ugly transformer on your property. And again, one of the very things that are so important to Piscataqua Savings Bank is our landscaping. And so we actually came up with a really neat way using a step-up converter. So we were able to pull the power off of our current source and then get it out there to be able to feed this one charger.
I'm not an expert, certainly on electrical current and how it's distributed, but it sounds like you've chosen a rather unobstreperous way of putting this charging station up.
That's exactly it. Being a part of the historic A district down here in Portsmouth, it's very important how things look, and yeah, we were able to make it almost seamless into our parking lot.
Did you ever have to go before the Historic District Commission to do this?
Oh, we did, yes.
Hmm.
Yep. And it was actually a pretty easy process. Anybody that has worked down here and have been through, you know what they're looking for. They want to see it from all different angles. They want to make sure that it just blends in. So we were able to work with them closely and come up with something that really looked good in the downtown and is functional.
Well, and Tony's not going to give himself enough credit in that process, Roger. I mean, he's worked with the HDC before, so he made this presentation and there weren't any questions because he anticipated them and answered them all in the display that he showed him.
And it's quite out of the way, but in the way. I mean, in respect to being available, it's right out there, and it's. May I ask you this, Tony? Is it a Tesla-based charger?
It is not. So there are different types of chargers out there. So you have your Tesla ones, and then you have this one specific charge point. But any Tesla owner has an adapter that could go on this. So it can charge pretty much any vehicle. And one of the neat things about this charger is it's considered a level 3 charger. So it can produce at 65 kilowatts an hour. So cars can get their charge usually in less than an hour.
Yeah, you could call it, I guess, the most advanced charging system as opposed to plugging into your household socket.
Correct.
You derive some revenue from this charger. Maybe you can address that, Ben, because people have to pay for a charge, and I guess does the bank gain any value of that monetarily?
So that's a great question. Backing up, this project was not a monetarily based idea. Going back to 2019 when we became a B Corp, we take a look at um, things differently.
Mm, mm.
Is this something that can benefit our customers? Can it benefit our community? We ask those types of questions. And again, back to what I was saying about the different grants, we did not take any grant from any entity. So we completely did this ourselves, and that charger was quite expensive to the tune of probably over $200,000 to put in. Uh,
Wow.
and so, yes, it does derive some income. We've had it in for about 3 months. It's interesting to see because, each month it's getting a little bit more. But that was one of the neat things that we wanted to do with it. We considered this a loss leader. So with the fees that we're incurring now, we're coming up with different ideas that we want to do with that. One of the things that we were floating around is taking that amount and donating it to a certain nonprofit of the month. Again, this was not a financial decision. It was, something that we could add to the community.
Wow, that price tag stuns me. Sorry, it does. The company that put this in has done a lot of banks in Maine, I understand. I think they're based in Maine, Revision Energy, if I'm not wrong. But this is the only bank, I think, that's been done in New Hampshire, if I'm correct.
I don't know. There may be, it's certainly the only fast charger in New Hampshire. That much I know.
Correct.
Mm.
In this area,
Yeah.
yeah. When we were looking into this idea, we did have an affiliation with a bank in New Jersey that did this, and so it was nice to be able to talk with them about the benefits, the drawbacks, what they saw, and but yeah, as for actual other banks, I don't think that this is something that is really on their radar.
Mm. It's groundbreaking, really. Um, really forward thinking. Goes along, I think, with your bank addition, which has been very, very, very beautiful to look at and walk through. And it's just incredible. But let me ask you this, anybody. Uh, is there any way to measure how it's being accepted in the community or beyond? Is there any way to judge, for instance, metering it?
I'll take it. There's actually a couple different ways. I mean, you have your basic metrics. So we get monthly reports of seeing new people come in, how it's being used, how long they are there. Almost like a website would look at search engine optimization. It's just really digging into those numbers. But on top of that, ChargePoint, we are connected with different apps that are used. And so between the ChargePoint app and the PlugShare, these are platforms that can have comments put on them. And so, as you start reading, some are positive, some are not so positive. Anybody that has been in Portsmouth anytime knows that parking is the bane of most existences.
Yes.
It's tough. And, to note, we are actually one of the only banks in downtown Portsmouth that have not closed off or metered their lot. So after 5 o'clock, we provide free parking to the community. So a lot of times the negative comments that have come with the charger were that there were other non-charging vehicles in that spot. So it's something that we're just going to continue to manage. But from like I said, short time, 3 months that we've had it up and running, I've received a lot of positive feedback.
Is it, in your opinion, gentlemen, pretty well accepted in the community? I mean, are locals using it, I guess is the question.
And so I can confirm yes for that.
Mhm.
It's actually a really good mix of both. So in those metrics, I can see people by zip code, and so a lot of times I'll see different cars from either New Jersey or Georgia, or people just passing through.
It is interesting how you get vehicles in there. I mean, you don't really advertise it, do you?
We do not. And so this is something that has been new to us. The the EV charger or the EV car community is pretty tight. And it's very interesting. They do a lot of self-managing. And so people that um, they know to only charge to 80% to try to move it along. Once in a
Mm.
great while, we'll get somebody that's stuck there a little bit longer. And then, yeah, it's difficult to manage.
But you mentioned, I think, Tony, that it takes to go to full charge on your system about half an hour right now.
Give or take, yeah,
Mm.
usually about an hour. From what I understand, most EV people will charge their vehicle to about 80%, and then save that rest of the time for either charging at home or doing somewhere else. Because once
Mm.
you hit 80%, from 80 to 100%, the charging time actually slows down, and that's just to be able to extend the life of the battery.
So if it takes maybe half an hour or an hour, you could conceivably nip up into town and go to a couple of shops, right?
Absolutely. And again, back to the community, that was another idea that we have possibly going forward, is talking with some of the other shops, for instance, Series Bakery across the way, putting a little note in there and saying, while you're charging, please go over and enjoy some of the amenities that Portsmouth has.
And another thing we're hoping too, Roger, that just sort of happens organically is all the studies we've been reading a lot lately are that people want to do business with businesses that align with what's important to their core values. So if we have people that are parking here and charging here, we hope that naturally, and for those that are listening that may be doing this, become customers of the bank because our values align with what's important to them.
That's Ben Wheeler and Tony Cabral of Piscataqua Savings Bank in downtown Portsmouth. I'm Roger Wood.